Yeah. Sounds good. So John didn't make it. All right. Yeah, okay, that's great.
How are you doing?
Good. We're live.
All right, we ready to call the meeting to order? Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:40 on August 24th for the Economic Development Commission. Start with a roll call. Aaron Bosworth, here. Dr. Doug D. Kubelis.
Here.
Jennifer Ludwig.
Here.
Jonathan Pascua is not here. Tim Pimentel.
Here.
And Craig Bernardo. And Ben. So the first agenda item is the approval of meeting minutes from March 16th. We'll start with that one. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
I'll second. Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any comments, questions, changes in regards to the minutes from March 16th?
Nope. I do not.
Okay. Now we have to vote to approve them, right?
All in favor?
Oh, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
4-0. And can I have a motion to approve the minutes from April 13th?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. The only other thing on the meeting minutes before we move on is, I know it might be difficult, but is it possible to get the minutes earlier than as we're doing the agenda for the preview for the?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes I can get it earlier.
I know it's hard. I know. Okay. Anything else on meeting minutes before we move on to agenda item 4? Okay.
Good.
Selection of chairperson.
Make a motion to nominate Aaron Bosworth for chairperson.
Second. Doing such a good job.
Wait a minute, do I get to say here? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to old business, CGI.
Just
Sorry.
one question for you, Aaron. Do we need to select a VP at this point? Does anyone want to talk about that, or do we want to leave that open?
Who else are we missing overall?
So Craig has said that he's
step back.
going to step back. John has not expressed one way or the other, but he's not been to many of these meetings recently.
Yeah.
So it would need to, or it should be one of the two of you if you want it, or we don't have to.
Yeah.
But it would be helpful. So then, for example, if Aaron's out or something, somebody can lead the meeting.
Yeah.
Any volunteers?
I've thought about it, and I'd either like to table it and have, if we can get more.
Let's put it on the next agenda because it's not listed on the agenda.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then it's a race to who nominates who first.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. All right, so agenda item number 6 is the CGI proposed video scripts and any other comments in regards to moving forward with that. So Ben, when do we have to approve the script by?
I need to submit it by this Friday.
Okay.
So if you want to take time, I can make copies and you can all take a copy of the script home and just get back to me in the next 2 days.
Yes.
Yeah, I just have a.
This is the copy. So yeah,
I did-
I'd rather not rush. I'd like to give that the proper attention. And I apologize for.
I enjoyed looking at that. That's good.
I did try to read through some of it. I don't know. I've seen in two. So Smithfield has theirs up and North Providence, and they both have a Parks and Rec section. I don't see a script on there specific to that category.
No, we kind of worked Parks and Rec into both lifestyle and recreation.
Okay. did we cover, or do you have an idea of what we're gonna use for those?
That's the rest
For
of it.
that
Yeah, I was trying to.
No, I mean,
That all goes together.
if you have suggestions for shots around town or photos, they're gonna be coming out on October 4th and 5th, or 3rd and 4th.
Something.
Okay,
And so I don't know if we're gonna be in fall colors that early, maybe, but if you want
so
pictures from other times of the year as stills, then we get them now.
maybe our next agenda item, we can review some of those things like locations. I mean, I'm thinking like
Yeah,
the Keep Kids Fishing, can we get anything on that? Like,
and I have photos from other events of kids
Yeah.
fishing, so it's just about a photo dump and they can use the still and I can upload it and whatever, but
Do you know when they need that by though?
well, that'll be post-production, so I don't think there's any rush on it, but for their planning purposes, the sooner the better, so they can work in what shots they want.
Was there, I mean, I had fun kind of going through and just, I don't know how expansive this is supposed to be or how long you kind of missed some of that maybe. But with the public safety component, is there room for that? Talking about our great police and our great fire and all that good. Is that part of what this is in profiling?
We didn't
the town?
cover
Is it
every
not
single,
really?
well, we didn't cover every single department, so
Yeah.
these is really just an introductory
Sure.
video, present the town, really trying to sell the amenities, quality of life. I mean, I think you will get a shot of maybe a police car going by and talk about safe community, things like that, but
To your point, I did see some stats recently that might be a helpful piece. It was like Coventry is like 6th lowest crime per XYZ in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
I can't remember where I saw that, but it was
Yeah, we
within the
can't
last few
profile it.
months.
Yeah, I was thinking like a statistic on that to say, safe community, here's why.
They do.
I don't know if that's what they typically do with these or not, these type of presentations.
It's an interesting angle because the police here aren't just locking up bad guys. I mean, we have school resource officers. Not every school's,
A lot of positive.
district has those.
Absolutely.
They partner on the substance abuse task force. There's some great photos from that we could probably use. It's a good idea.
also, is there anything we can do around like diversity and inclusion at all? Is there anything we can advertise or specify?
In what specific diversity, like,
Just the openness, I guess, of like, is there any special events that are geared towards diversity and inclusion or special things at like the senior center?
We
for
celebrated
instance, or-
Pride Day and had a flag raising ceremony in June.
We do have a couple good photos from that. That might be good to include as like a.
At a minimum, just the image. If it even doesn't make the script, people will pick up on that.
Just something to,
I can send some photos from that Ben of the group.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize. I did not see the link, or maybe it was in an
I didn't
email that I didn't finish reading.
That's
Either
okay.
one is possible. But yeah, if I get a copy, I'll go through tonight. So tonight is EDC night for me.
also the, if possible to make note, I think it would be important to have footage at both the soccer and softball complexes. I feel like a lot of the population might benefit towards seeing that, or people moving to Rhode Island if you have kids moving to Coventry.
Have you talked with them about more than just town recreation services, like any private organization? So for example, Coventry softball, girls softball is a private organization. It's not funded or run by the town.
So is CSA,
Which one's that?
Coventry Soccer.
Soccer
I was
Association.
heavily involved in that for many years.
An old golf course, there's lots of.
Yeah.
Business type thing.
No, I didn't incorporate everything and, but that's the opportunity. We have like 120 words for each 30-second segment of video. And we need to squeeze whatever we're gonna have in there. And so then it's like, okay, we can mention that, like with education, we did expand to not just talk about Coventry Public Schools, but that we have private schools and we have amenities that close by University of Rhode Island, Roger Williams, Brown, that it goes beyond and that we're centrally located and have access. So we're trying to highlight those strengths as well to see beyond the community, but still as having the community as the focal point. So we could do that with sports too.
To take that through in a rapid frame thing, or it's just like you get a little, how they kind of energize you into like see all these little blurbs, like a quick kick of the ball, a quick, thing of the softball, the golf, this game really fast, but you're not going to dedicate.
We're not going to have any softball on October 3rd or 4th when they're filming. So, I mean, maybe soccer, but if they're only here for 2 days and they're here during the day, it's not going to be after hours when they're off. All the kids are going to be in school, so we're not going to get live footage for this photo shoot. So if we want to say it, we say it, or we can show it with a still if you have photos that.
What kind of format would they need? And if there's like a proper video we could get pulled in, or the regular SanDisk, get a snippet of the video, could they edit that in or splice it in if it's not in season?
I can ask them, or whatever we have, I can see if I can upload it to their site so they can review it and work with it. If formats and length and quality are all going to play into whether they can use it or not.
I mean, that if you think about it, at the Coventry Little League, I mean, they've done they've won nationally, and I mean, even beyond, I mean, they have some amazing wins. So those a couple of shots from from last year and the year before, that might be
a lot of things we're proud of in this town, and profile at all would be so. And snippet would be kind of hard to do, but
this is intended to be an introduction, not a comprehensive anthology of Coventry. But we are hoping that we could use this to drive people to learn more, right? And maybe this is a preliminary precursor that if we developed a economic development welcome page, some kind of where they can go for more and tell these stories. I think it's very interesting. Of course, we need the volunteers to research, write it, and put it together, but that's where you would want to go.
But it sounds like the immediate task is we need to commit to getting you feedback on the script by Friday. Okay, but we will have time to talk maybe more about photos and videos. Okay. So maybe that's our action. Let's do this, and then for next month, I'd like to suggest that we, continue the discussion, or whenever is appropriate. If it's post visit, whatever, post edit, pre-release, or another review then.
I remember a part of what they did with this video is that businesses could pay to be advertised. Have we put any of that out there yet to the community?
I did a business introduction letter for them, and I believe Council President Dixon has, at some point, they were going to get with her on a Zoom or Teams meeting to video her introduction to the town and introducing this program to businesses, and then they're going to do all the business outreach.
Oh, okay, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, that was one of the big selling points.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, or feedback on the CGI? The only thing I'll say is I did reach out. So Smithfield has done a video. It is posted to their website already, as well as North Providence has their video posted. The mayor's office hasn't called me back for North Providence, but Smithfield, I did talk to the town manager. He wasn't involved in the project at the time that they did it, but has heard a lot of great feedback in terms of the ease of being able to do it and just the overall support from CGI. So I did reach out to Narragansett too, but I haven't heard back. So. Okay. Agenda item number 7 is the community gift card program.
So I missed that meeting and I don't have any materials on hand. I can reach out to the gentleman who made the presentation, but I wasn't sure where we left off on that.
So we took that to the council and I thought at that meeting, we gave a green light, like proceed.
Yeah, I remember there being a proceed, but then it kind of like
Okay.
fell off my radar, so. I can reach out to him and see what's
How do we,
next.
yeah, how do we officially get started with them?
Mhm.
Okay.
Another item for next week.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something maybe between now and then I can help to facilitate and push forward with.
Yeah, because I don't remember it going to the town council
No,
specifically.
I don't remember getting the green light officially, to be honest.
I thought I remembered that we took it, but maybe that was the video I'm thinking of.
Yeah, because the video was approved just in July, but this was talked about in March. And then we did the CGI presentation in April. And then we were in budget season and
Yeah,
it was crazy, so.
This was a part of the EDC presentation to the town council.
yeah. So I think we just need to know what is the next step in order to work with them.
Yeah,
Like, do you need a council approval? There's, again, this is one of those programs that there's no money involved, so can you just get a consensus like over email?
okay.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I'll find out. I'll energize it.
Okay. Agenda item number 8 is the EDC survey questions.
So this is one I put forward. I can email this out to everybody or maybe Ben, could you include and email that to everybody just so it's no violation issues. But I put a draft together of something that you could click like on the EDC site. And, we could probably have on the town Facebook page, a posting out that says, hey, can you pass this along to different businesses? And the questions, of course, we would need to update the date. My original copy, I think I sent this out in February and then I suggested April. So we can figure out the exact dates and things like that. But if people can maybe take a look through the questions and see if there's something missing or something we want changed. This would be a good one to take a look at offline, just so you can see, some of the information on here.
I feel like we did.
And we can update the text.
But I
table.
remember.
I was gonna say, like, I
through
thought we
these.
did it, but then we didn't really proceed.
Okay,
But if we can get the green light, that would be, I think this would be helpful for us to at least show that we're trying to reach out to businesses and trying to find out information of more things that we
Yes.
can do to be helpful.
so what can we do to commit to getting this done? Should we set it up for the next meeting to vote on approving it or like as an action item?
Hello.
All right. How are you?
Hi.
Rob Barsoom. I spoke to this fine young man and he said if I could come tonight, so.
Yeah.
Please
join
have a
us.
seat.
Great. Open up the phone.
Yeah, so I'm interested in getting this rolling. So I guess my question is completely like, how do we? So let's review it, whatever we gotta do, like, let's turn it into action.
So do we want to maybe put a time limit on it, like give everybody 1 week to send in any final suggestions? And then we can put it on the town website by the end of next week, something like that.
As soon as you give me the green light and it's ready
Okay.
to go, I'll.
So we don't need a vote or anything,
Well, you're deciding here, you have a quorum, you
Okay.
can say what you want to see happen, give me instructions to go forward. I would suggest not putting a deadline for the survey, just leave it open-ended online, so.
And we can just keep pulling it or,
Yeah, we can pull it every so often and see what the tally is.
Okay.
Obviously, it'll run out, like, we only took the Charter Review Commission survey down this afternoon, and we realized
Yeah.
it's still up there.
well, one thing we probably want to do is just incentivize people to actually take it. So maybe what we could say is if we could finish getting edits and everyone to Ben by say, give it a week. So by the 31st, send all edits. And then we can get it uploaded over the next couple of days, like whatever your schedule is with, I know it's Labor Day weekend. So whatever is appropriate with you and Cody and everybody. And then if we can get that live the week of the 6th, our EDC meeting is the 21st. I think it's 21st, September 21st. And then the next EDC meeting is in October. So we could We could say we're gonna pull this data and, discuss it specifically at the October meeting. Give
This
people
isn't a
choice.
very heavy lift, depending on what you come back to me with. I could probably have it up on the first.
On the first, okay. That would give people 1.5
If you get it
weeks.
to me by the 31st.
Okay,
So one step at a time, right? So we owe feedback
To Ben,
to Ben,
To
yeah,
Ben?
to Ben,
by next Wednesday.
the sooner the better, but
Yep.
yes.
and then, so we'll get live by.
Just read it
And I'll just incorporate it Wednesday evening if
Okay.
I don't have any other.
This was going on the town website.
Mhm.
And then how are
Social
businesses
media,
gonna be contacted to get them to do it?
So the town Facebook page, it would be great if we could send a
can do a
posting out
push.
on that. We could also have on the Coventry RI, like on the homepage, we could do a banner at the top and say, fill out the survey.
Mhm.
And then also there's a town news section. We could put a posting there. And then hopefully some of us can help with that on some of our own social media platforms. Also, does anyone want to do a radio interview? I can get us on with John Parenti.
Regarding,
Yeah, saying, hey, we have this survey out there. We want your feedback. It's like, I don't know, you go in, you talk with John for 15 minutes and then he edits it a little bit and then, puts it out in the next week or two of news call out saying, hey, EDC is looking for this. I met with, Dr. Decubellis and he said the following and he'll play your clip,
Yeah.
something like that.
it's a
Why
good
don't,
idea.
if anybody is interested in that, let me know and I'll coordinate that with John directly. I can only take one other person for that.
If one of you are interested, then please feel free. If not, I'll do it for the sake of.
I was just gonna say, I'll do it if no one else wants to do it. Seriously.
Sounds like you just signed up.
Okay, fine.
Okay, cool. So Tim, I'll email you. I'll talk to John first and get some timings and then I'll
Yes.
just
Okay.
send that your way.
Great.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to finish the draft in the next week and get it uploaded to the town site and then social media platforms for September 1st.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Great.
4-0.
Okay, cool.
Peter down.
Okay. Agenda item number 9, the RFP for marketing review. Anybody?
So this is what we, in essence, we're talking about, it's probably 6 months ago now,
Mhm.
or 8 months ago, beginning of the year.
Yeah.
We proposed it to the council. It might be interesting for us to put a draft together on what we would like to see, like the types of things that would come out of the RFP. And maybe we can do that based on some of the feedback from the survey if we get a couple people to respond. So do we maybe want to look at coming into the October meeting with some suggestions on what we'd like to see? Because issuing the RFP itself, Ben, we can give that information to you. Can you send out an RFP? Once we have our goals and things together? Okay.
Yeah, we have to have, we talked about, we need a scope.
Yeah, and if you give me your outcome, what you want, then I could help write the RFP to
Deliverables.
get that outcome. Or you could research RFPs for communities and find samples out there that you want to use and incorporate bits and pieces and pull it together.
The funding, like once you have it out there and then people apply, the funding is really the hard part, right? Because you have to get the money for it. So I don't even know if we had an idea of what something like this might cost. I think we put something like 30,000 or something on
Yes.
that thing that you presented to the council.
75.
30 to something.
So
And again, it's gonna, the
based
scope
on
and
other
deliverables.
recent
is gonna-
RFPs we've worked on, I would say that the town's performance audit was really involved. That was 130,000, but we have an RFP out right now for a study of the 4 fire districts, fire services for the community. And the ballpark I was given was 40,000. And I think that's still a really big job but it's less than the full scope of the town and the school, so I'm thinking 20 to 40.
Originally, we
range.
said 20, but then we bumped it up to 75. And that's what we had in the presentation from the town council, 75,000.
So. One thing that is happening, so we're taking proposals from the town council on these types of community initiatives that are, you know, bigger ticket items that we have not had funding for in the past. If you want, you can look at Monday night's council meeting. There's feedback from each of the counselors on the types of things they would approve. I'm wondering if we put something in from EDC that says 30,000 for marketing campaign through the application process. The time would be of the essence there though, because we're going to look at all that the second week in September. I just don't know if we have a baked enough idea now to really show the benefits. So when it gets in front of the council, they have enough information to approve or not. I don't know. What does anybody else think? Like, could we get a draft with some goals and then just ballpark the amount, like 30K or something for a submission?
Yeah.
This was to get the review of the town together.
Not the comprehensive plan.
Something.
I'm just talking about this
The RFP for our marketing.
the marketing review specifically. We would have to move very quickly on this to submit an application for this. Otherwise, it's basically kind of, if it takes us 6 months to get something like this even together and then go back to the council, it would either have to come out of, you know, general funds, which is almost always going to be a no for this stuff, budget. So we'd have to include it in the annual budget, which I don't know about you, but it was, to me, seemed very difficult to get a past budget this year. We had a failure the first time. So
now's their chance, is what you're saying.
it feels like now's our chance.
Okay.
There's
Can
a
you say-
possibility that all of the ARPA funds won't be spent on the 12th either.
Right.
And there may be other bites at the apple or timeframes, or contingency or whatever it is. But I do think that the more baked the idea is, the better argument and justification you can get by the council for support, the better chances you get for funding. So
I'm conflicted between, you know, the urgency, but then not having it be detailed enough where they're not gonna understand or buy into
I
what
would
we're
say
doing. So I
get it
feel like
right
there's a
more
middle
than-
ground.
I don't think it's about being first to the
Right.
to the drop in this case. I think there's going to be more time unless we decide to spend all the ARPA funds on roads. Because
That could happen. I'm
could
just going
happen.
to tell you, it could happen.
for me, anything can happen. Anything's possible. So
I
I
wonder-
would just say,
I wonder if we could put in a placeholder, almost like you put an application and say, we're working on formulating this idea. Could you consider us in a later round kind of thing?
That's actually what I was kind of thinking, like if there's a way to at least plant the seed for the money and say, listen, we want to come back to you, you know, when we have our ducks in a row and give you a really good presentation, because we see this as a, you know, huge benefit of where we want to go. But, you know, we want to have that. So, you know, put aside or whatever. And then we'll be back. I don't know, but
But so
you
for
two know
example-
how the, you know,
So for
the
example, I'm on
likelihood of
this
what
group,
works.
but none of the other 4 members are, so they won't even know anything about this.
Right.
Unless I have to go personally tell people about them, which I really shouldn't be reaching out because we could be making a voting decision on it. So,
Yeah, I mean, again, you're the expert, so that's why I'm conflicted. Like, I mean, I guess in my line of work, like, we would never even consider doing it that way. But you know, you come with every T, you know, and then you get approval, but that's just where I work. So there's an internal struggle for
Yeah.
me, just because of what I'm used to, but I hear and I understand, you know, and you're involved and you know, as to getting the money, I mean, that's a huge part of it. So that's why I'm
So no
like,
one's-
what's
So
the
the
middle, what's
application-
the path?
the application form is on the website and that will be a starting point. And you can look at that and go through that and see how well you could complete that form to make a compelling case.
Where is that? Because I couldn't find it today.
Under information, ARPA,
Mhm.
it's one of the documents.
So I don't want to be involved with that because I'm gonna vote on it.
Right.
So, and then plus if three of us talk about it, that's OMA violation. So, maybe,
Four.
sorry,
Four of you talk about it. Four is a quorum.
four of us is one. So,
So three of you could work on
three-
it. That's how the charter review did it and the solicitor blessed it. So
okay, that's fine. So I do think there's value in submitting it and saying, this is out there. We want to stay in the forefront. We're working towards the goals, even if we don't make it now. It's a very light lift. It's a freaking one pager and you check a couple boxes and you fill out a little bit of info.
You're talking about the application?
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, there is nothing to lose. So,
So it sounds like that's our path. So we'll fill this out. But obviously, we're not gonna have everything to the detail that we want
of course,
by
you
next
can say,
month.
you can say that right in there. Yeah.
But I agree, we need to plant the seed. Cause I mean, this could be literally the beginning of our, of our SOP, whatever,
What's it called?
standard operating procedures.
Okay.
I mean, it basically becomes, so the results of this study to me are gonna be like, okay, like it's data driven, right? This isn't just, random ideas, not that random ideas aren't good. But it's data driven and we can say, these are the experts and this is what they say we should be focusing our attention to. And then we rally behind that and go from there. That's just how I see it. But anyway. Okay. So do we need a vote or a motion? I don't know.
I don't want to do it because
Yeah,
So, okay, so I think, all right, so I guess,
At this point, you're not,
we're agreeing,
what would you be making a motion?
agreeing to submit the application.
Yeah.
On
Okay,
behalf
a
of the
decision to
EDC
make an application. Yeah.
in a starting review / draft of an RFP, like what if we. do-
Starting to review draft isn't a motion or an action, you can just do that anyway, but I would say that
The
you're making a
application.
motion to submit an application. for
Okay.
ARPA funds for this project.
so I'll make that motion. Motion is to, for the group, the EDC, to submit an application to use ARPA funds towards a future RFP for marketing for the town of Coventry.
I'll second.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
And when is that? When should we have that? in?
I think we're gonna look at it sometime around
September 12th.
12. Yeah, so that's in.
So by September 12th, we want to have that in.
It's,
So I'll take
I would do it before then. I
Yeah,
would say
looking at
get
the
it in
By the 7th
by the 7th because then Ben
Then
has
it
to
gets
put
in
all of
the-
it together.
in the agenda.
Yeah.
packet.
I will take a first stab at looking at the form,
Yeah,
the
we have-
application,
I'll be happy to be the second set of eyes.
and
Yeah, just email it
put a
to,
draft and then.
and again, if she sends it to just me, like, we're good, like, there's no violations. Okay. So let's do that. Awesome.
Anything else on the RFP?
I have nothing else at this time.
Okay. Agenda item number 10, recognition of Coventry businesses. So this was something that President Dixon had emailed Craig and I about a couple of months ago. And asked if we could put together some recognition that we can go to one of the town council meetings and recognize businesses that have been in town for a certain amount of years. So starting with some of the higher ups, right? 40, 50 years of doing service. We started it, we built and created a certificate to be able to hand out and attempted to try to get the list of businesses. But I think one of our first EDC meetings, we talked about the fact that it's very hard to know what businesses are even in Coventry. So there's no list, obviously. So it became really difficult. I ended up reaching out to all the town council members to try to see if they knew of any in their areas. And I got some responses, but it was like, oh, I think this one and I think that one. It didn't seem very fair in my mind of, it's not like we could definitively say these top 10 businesses. And my fear was that we would recognize some and it would be portrayed poorly because we're not recognizing all within that category.
Good call.
We did something called a community appreciation meeting where we specifically highlighted individuals within the community and different organizations. We did that just a couple months ago. Like we highlighted John Parenti, even though he's a West Warwick resident, he does so much for Coventry and Coventry Little League and the station location is here in Coventry. The VFW, we did some other organizations. So there, I do feel like there's always the chance of missing someone. But I'm hoping that that event actually becomes an annual thing so that people we didn't get to this year, hopefully we get them next year and then the year after and that type of thing.
Sense in that aspect of it's who's doing a lot in the community. I feel like if you're going by age of business or how long you've been in business, it's a very black and white line. If you're recognizing businesses over 20 years or over 40 years, it becomes a little bit more tricky, I think.
I was one of the people who emailed. I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't even know how to look that up.
I didn't even.
So I think it's a spin it
Commercial
thing.
tax.
Spin it. If anyone comes and complains, you say, hey, I'm so glad to hear about you. We didn't know about you. Please tell me more. We'd love to recognize you at another time. And it just is what it is, because you got to start from somewhere. You can't start expecting to get it perfect and have everything from the beginning. So, and I think most people are pretty understanding about that. And if they're not, maybe they shouldn't be recognized.
Is there a way through the state, through the business search to find out the incorporation date and where is there any way to filter down through their site business?
Not by Coventry. You can get the list of all the businesses in the states or the fictitious business names, and some of them are churned by developers and they use a different name for every week. And so
There's not a list somewhere, like in some system of.
well, the South County Chamber of Commerce would have their list of members, and the other Central Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce would have a list of
If
members.
they're a member.
If they're a member of those.
Is that still going? Central
Yeah, I talked to them.
there, or Patuxent Valley Chamber, that's dissolved.
Yeah, the PV chambers is gone. It's now the central.
So I know someone on that who might be able to reach with her.
So I don't-
Central
that
is
just
actually the most
depends.
active out of all chambers.
It just depends on,
Central is the most active out of all
Yeah.
the chambers.
but if they don't have any members from Coventry, then
With this past
it's not getting a list.
lists of who was.
I can run a query on our property database to list all commercial properties, but a lot of them might just be properties held by a business, not a business. So it's a lot of weeding to do to go through and build a
Is
list.
there
And it
properties
doesn't-
you have to open up and go through the town business?
We don't require a business license for every business in town.
Okay.
We only require zoning permits and
Yeah.
licensing.
Alright,
So
so that's-
we could get all the victualling licenses. We got a list of them.
Right.
That's a starting point.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't know the age. We won't know the year they.
No, because they apply every year and it's
That's what I'm
not
saying.
necessarily part of the application questions we have.
Let's start with the goal. I think we're getting so far into the weeds. What is the goal of the session? To recognize businesses in Coventry? Why? Is it for longstanding service to the community? Is it for what they've put back into the community, just that they've existed? Like, I want to better understand the angle here, because
Well, this comes back to President Dixon's request for the information is something she wanted to do. This wasn't driven by
Right.
EDC.
Yeah.
And maybe the time isn't right. Maybe it's a good idea. We can address it later.
To flush out all these businesses and really.
Yeah.
That's a
How,
A lot of legwork to do. I don't know.
not to prolong the discussion, because I know we're limited on time, but what about it? What about it becoming a nomination? And they have to say, why? Like,
Yeah,
why should this?
community nominations, businesses can nominate themselves. It could be a promotional marketing thing.
And by doing that, actually, it takes the onus off of anyone in the town system of picking and choosing. And we can say, no, we got 10, and these are the 3 we thought were the most outstanding, and the rest of them,
Would that be something to add on to for the survey? Would nominate or tag that
Would you
in?
participate?
Would you participate in a nomination?
Or could, would
Of
you
business?
nominate? Are you,
What if-
or how long, is it on here, how long you've been in business?
No,
What if
'cause
we,
it's not a business, so it's,
Yeah, well,
what if we,
business owner.
okay.
what if we coupled this? Business appreciation for longtime business partners doing good in Coventry, partnered it with 4th of July fireworks, and put it all together for like a July 4th week celebration of local businesses. Come to Coventry, we'll do food trucks, we'll do something, and we'll do fireworks on Lake Tioga or at the high school, or we'll pick a place. Because that's an item that's related to business. We can put it in our request to the council and say, let's package this as like a celebratory EDC type of initiative, homage to businesses. We could still do the nomination process, but it gives us several months to start working on this and getting those
And
businesses.
advertising and,
Sounds like a great idea.
I agree with that too.
So this would be a second
Application.
application. But I mean, I know we've talked about this in other meetings, like having some type of event to bring businesses together, bring people out in the community.
We did, but we also, I thought the direction wasn't gonna head that way. Having a one-off event, focusing efforts were in a different direction. I like it. I was initially, when I first came out, I was like, well, it'd be nice to have something to do that, but I didn't know that was our direction from the outside, but directions change. Because it seemed like we didn't want to focus on one.
So we don't have to do anything. We certainly don't have to do anything. But if we think it's an interesting angle for EDC, and it gets us more information with businesses, and it creates a town event and things, if it hits several different boxes, it might be something that gets approved at the council level and gets funding for. Again, it's just like there's nothing to lose. Whereas when we talked about it, I don't know.
We didn't have any of the funds. We didn't have any of that.
Yeah, we didn't have like a possible source for that to tap into and push that type of event. So yeah, I mean, that was something I think would be good
So
townwide.
yeah, so maybe maybe this is another like idea from EDC that goes in and say we don't have everything worked out, these would be the things that we're looking at doing. This would be the general cost of something. Like you can Google how much does fireworks cost and put a number on there to say that, and then I would suggest thinking about adding a little more because you're going to have to cover the safety aspect and things like that.
Okay.
I look at the Johnson's Pond Association and see what they're
Wow.
spending, which is a big event, but
Remember, a lot of it is a bunch of money that a couple of very specific, families put into that.
right, but whatever they end up.
Oh, just like as a comp.
Right,
Well,
just to
like
compare,
so
yeah.
what does it take?
I'm sure
When
John-
I was at the city of Jerome, Idaho, population 11,000, they put on a $15,000 fireworks show. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
As
Then
they
they
look
cut it
at
back down to
20.
12,000, then they cut it from the budget, and then the community fundraised it, and then they joined Twin Falls, and we're done. But you can do a show and doesn't have to break the bank, but $15,000 is decent.
You got to bump it up because we're asking for people to put 20 or more,
25.
and we have to do the safety aspect. There's
We're
all
gonna do
these
the
things.
safety.
There's
Yeah,
a
you
lot.
want to be able to
There's
promote it,
insurance.
right? We're gonna do
Some
Flyers
advertising.
and advertising, especially, I mean, we have social media, but
Well, we got to figure out a location, permits, and
The
That's-
time
that's
is a good
actually-
location versus. the
Well, if it's a
That's not
town,
too deep
if it's a
into it.
town event, the permits are a lot easier than if you're,
Of course.
happen to.
But if we're gonna do food trucks, like, I mean, there's a whole bunch, you know,
There's
there's
a lot.
each one of those things, which are all great ideas. It just, you know, you gotta check all across all those things off the list. As you know, getting done, but yeah,
Yeah, just hypothetically.
Maybe my
it's
6
Probably
minute
gonna, if we
one.
need, put in funds for that, in an estimate, it needs to. Include.
so, yeah, probably 30. I mean, if it comes in less than great.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay. Can I have a motion to submit the second application for Harper funds? Which would be to celebrate the businesses with a 4th of July fireworks spectacular.
is that what we're calling it? I like it.
Oh, come up with better.
So are you making the motion?
Yeah,
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Ben, this is yours. I don't want to steal it because you mean,
and you said that from the email, right?
Well, the link was.
The link,
so
okay.
I'll make copies of this because this will be easier than going and finding the email.
You want us to wait for you to come back? Or-
I'll stick here to do the.
Okay.
this really quick.
Agenda item number 11 is approve the meeting schedule for 2022 and 2023.
I missed doing this last year, I think, and so we have 4 meetings left. September 21, October 19, November 16, and December 21. And then it's the same. I didn't see any conflicts next year for holidays or
I look too. I didn't
or
see anything.
anything else, so. With a formal vote on it, then I can get it on the Secretary of State's website for next year.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 and 2023 schedules. As outlined in the agenda. Or wait, in the agenda, or do we have to?
It's fine.
As outlined in the
as
agenda.
presented.
As presented.
As presented.
I'll second.
Ron Cameron.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda item number 12. Okay. Project plans for.
Okay, so I know we're kind of crunching time. I will summarize this. So this was just something we talked about. It would be good to know, what RIDOT, what the state has planned for projects in Rhode Island. We're not going to go through it page by page, but will go in and highlight. I only printed the pages that had Coventry specific projects on it. And again, we're not going to go through, but I'll summarize it very quickly in that most of the projects that RIDOT has planned for our town over the next 10 years is a lot of guardrail replacement and bridge replacement, including some very rural sections of Western Coventry. And then interestingly enough, and this is really why I thought it was worthy to bring it to the group, is that most of the kind of center of town stuff is Sandy Bottom Road. So there's a beautification project. There's, so they are redoing the bridge, the Sandy Bottom Bridge right now. But it seems like quite a bit of the activity that they're planning is centered on Sandy Bottom Road. So again, I thought that was kind of interesting. So
What does beautification mean?
usually landscaping, trees.
Yeah, so it's
Let's find out.
sidewalks and curbing on both sides of the road,
Yeah.
install landscape areas and lighting.
Yep.
For pedestrians and traffic, improve street conditions and pavement, bike route and paths, park benches. That's not until 2027.
Yeah, so again, this is a 10-year plan.
This.
You
I
can
think
see
this
when
would be
they're in
helpful
here.
For council also, do you have? Can you send the attachment? Or was it, what is it, like a link that you?
So if you just Google, this is right on the website.
Mhm.
And I went in and just obviously printed just the pages. I did a search word Coventry. And each page that popped up, I printed it, and that's how I made this packet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think this would be
Yeah.
good to, make the council in. Just that these exist.
And you know, you're a public attendee, but I have an extra copy, so if you're interested, you can have it as well. So yeah, that's all. I just wanted to present the information for various reasons that it might be helpful. And it was kind of mentioned, hopefully I'm not breaking any rules, but I think if we don't know, you should know that RIPTA added a new bus route. So public transportation has been expanded in Coventry. They have a new route that serves center of New England. So it goes through Coventry into West Warwick, where they have a hub at CCRI, and then you can connect throughout the state. So yeah. That's our second bus route.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's my update. I went as fast as I could.
Okay, agenda item number 13, review of council resolution 2 for the Adopt a Spot program.
So I printed out the resolution, and the council approved this resolution back in May. And we have an application form where a business or a group and entity organization can adopt a certain part of the state highway and have recognition for it. And their responsibility is to help keep it clean, pick up litter, and that sort of thing. You're already familiar with it. And there's a release for minors to help assist with the litter pickup, and there's a release form for the town of everybody that's participating. But this is a good way to encourage businesses to get a higher profile visibility in the town, I think.
Okay.
I was just going to say, do we have an idea of what spots would be
Read my mind. Is there a map?
like? Where are we thinking?
I don't know the answer to that question, because I don't know.
Pretty sure it has to be along a state road, I believe.
Well, yeah, it's a state highway program, so it's gonna be on Arnold or Tioga or Newsnack or Hopkins Hill 117. Any of the state routes. But I don't know how they segment it. I don't know how they administer the program. So we signed on to support, and we want to initiate it. So the next step is really promoting it.
So this might be a good item. So we did a mini revamp of the PDC website. This might put a couple of these items on the webpage and say, just so you know, like we have this, we have Adopta, whatever. We're working on X, Y, just having a couple things there. That might be a good thing, because I don't know how Kevin is planning on advertising. Is that something maybe we can get a little more
I'll ask
info
him
on?
about that, because I don't know what the next steps are now.
Well,
Yeah,
the best thing is it's a ride out program, so we don't really have to do anything.
Mhm.
We just need to promote it and say, interested in
I think we need
this,
to.
go to this link.
I think we need to learn a little bit more too. I don't know if there's somebody that can help share some details with us, or if it's just self-help.
I can read what's in the resolution. Application shall be approved by the town manager
Oh,
And-
perfect.
with recommendations from the Director of Public Works. Applications shall be limited to town property and town highways. The Director of Public Works will inspect and oversee all of the adopted spots, adopted highways, streetscapes, and make recommendations regarding each. And for the annual renewal of the application, which shall be sent to the town manager for approval. Any citizen, business, or civic organization wishing to participate in the program shall file an application, fill out the form that is annexed to this resolution.
We can include this in our radio update too, if we know that the link's available, so where we can point them towards.
I guess
So that
my-
one is town property. It's not
Yeah,
state.
yeah, it could be anywhere in town.
My question is, how
Interesting.
big of a space or spot do they get? Who's responsible for like the sign? I'm assuming there's gonna be like signs. What do those look like? Is it logos or is
I'm
it?
trying to Google
So,
it, but it's
I
not
looked-
coming in.
well,
I did
I'll
look it up
send
earlier.
out this to all of you, so you can have a look at it, because the application itself, it says the Adopt a Road program is open to volunteers interested in picking up litter along a section of town road close to you. Adoptions last a period of 2 years, and applicants may apply to any available segment of town roadway with a speed limit of 35 miles per hour or less. General information, any group a business, organization, family, or an individual can qualify to adopt a roadway. All group members must be at least 11 years old, must be supervised by an adult. You know, it just kind of goes into those stipulations, but it sounds like you could adopt as small an area as large an area, but that adoption, I think, okay, so for-profit organizations, you have the option of purchasing small signs or large signs, 18 by 24, 30 by 36, at a cost of $175 or $350 for the large one. Nonprofits, small signs will be placed at each end of the adopted highway segment at no charge, or you can purchase a larger sign for $350. So
We have to define our spots.
So you get to find your spots down.
I mean, it would be helpful to know if Kevin has any idea of some locations. This is the first.
Yeah, maybe
question
he
we're
has a
gonna get.
list already, like, oh, where can I adopt?
So when I
Yeah.
went
And
to
what's
the
already
site
adopted?
today, it had a list, not for Coventry, but when you go to I Googled adopt a spot, Rhode Island adopt a spot. And there's other towns or cities that have a list of locations that you can select. So we're gonna have to have something.
Or maybe we
These are
do, and
small.
yeah.
So,
And is it
Almost
okay if
done.
you ask Kevin just about how he's doing that? We don't need to
yeah,
urgently, but
I'll follow up with Kevin. I'll send out a copy of this to everybody. And
okay, yeah, that would be helpful. And then we can include it in our radio thing.
We're just gonna say, like, yeah, I mean, there's some really good business updates.
Yeah.
This, you know, if we want to mention the
Me too.
nomination, like, yeah, so
Need to get your radio voice ready.
I'm ready now.
Okay.
I was looking at a title behind it, like PP or something.
That, I mean, just depending on how we advertise this too,
Well
or
played.
something like that. At work, we do community service and it's team competition, right? And a group from there in Texas, but they adopted a highway. And they did cleanup and then they committed to going out there on a quarterly basis and doing the cleanup activities together. And so if we target some of the larger
Oh, it's a great program.
businesses.
Yeah, it's not even just businesses. It's a
Right.
great starting
Families,
point
you
for
know,
us.
Yeah,
Nonprofits,
Yeah,
lots
there's-
of them,
I'm
in
sure there's some
memory
nonprofits.
of, I mean, the,
Girl Scouts or like,
You know, the big hat, we just gotta get those areas parsed out as to what
Yep.
Yeah.
each businesses or person or entity wants to take over, how much space is theirs, turf.
okay,
I think that is it for the agenda. We can open it up for public comment unless anybody has anything else that they'd like to add.
It's on the public.
you are the public. Thank you for being here.
Can you move the mouse to see if anybody else is on the call? Nope, we're the only participants. So yes, you're the public tonight.
Hey,
Thank you for being here.
thanks for having me. I was actually at Dr. DQ Willis's office and he said that somebody had dropped out of the Economic Development Committee and I said I'd be interested in doing it. So I'm here. Don't know what the procedures are. So
And just one thing for public comment, can you just say your full name and your address?
John Barsoon, 670 Naughty Oak Road,
Barsoon, BAR.
SOUM.
SOUM. Okay, yeah, so there is a very light application, just put your name and a little bit of background on the town website. It's under boards and commissions. I can look it up for you and give it to you in just a moment. And then you send that in, and then the town council will put you on an upcoming schedule, like in an executive session. We ask you a couple of questions. And then we discuss with Ben, all candidates, before getting appointed to EDC. So yeah, we absolutely do have. So thank you.
And other than that, I really was trying to keep up with what was going on and I'm starting to get myself up to date on what you guys are doing. Looks pretty interesting and looks like you're trying to better the town. So I'd be glad to be of help if I can.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else before we,
I'll make a motion to close.
all right,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Hi,
Meeting concludes at 7:39 p.m.
good job.
Can you just stop the meeting on here?
If
There
you said
should
he'll
be
take care of it tomorrow, so just hit end, yeah.
in the meeting for all.